Hey my friends, it's Dave Slomka and welcome to a new episode of Dave's I Believe in You, where you can find expert guidance from the sources I've been learning from and a community of people like yourself who want to grow and change. So let me be your encourager. With God, your life can be better. You can change. Your best days are still ahead of you. I believe in you. Please share this podcast with 3 friends who want to grow and help them move forward in their lives and make a difference in our world. And with that, let's get started. I've noticed that as the year goes on, we often add more and more things that we want to work on in our lives. I would get challenged from a small group discussion or a great message I heard, or I listen to a podcast or read a book and be inspired to make a change in my life. And then the next month, sometimes the next week, I'd have a new idea for a new change and make a new commitment, and then the old ones would be forgotten and abandoned. There's just too much to do and my life becomes too unfocused with so much going on. Maybe you can relate. And that's why the idea behind one word really grabbed me. It brought focus, which meant I could see the potential for change. And over the past few years, one word has really been life-changing for me, and I know it can be for you too. In this episode, we're going to hear from the authors of One Word, Jon Gordon, Dan Britton, and Jimmy Page. And we're going to listen to Jon Gordon's podcast, Positive You. Now, their book, One Word, has sold over 100,000 copies. It's been taught all around the world. And there's even a YouVersion Bible reading plan that like 1 million people have used. And I've gone through the Bible reading plan twice now, and I found it really helpful. So in this podcast, we're going to look at 4 things that struck me. One is where the one-word idea comes from, then the power of focus, the impact of identity, and how to pick a word. So first, where did the one-word idea come from? Dan told a story of heading into Y2K. Do you remember that? And while driving with a friend was asked, what is your one word for the year 2000? Assuming that we all survive. Dan said he was thinking about goals and plans and targets. And he had basically this 7-page document in his head that he was trying to communicate. And his friend, Steve Fitzhugh, former NFL player, he challenged Dan to shrink it all down to just one word. Now, Dan said he took 2 weeks to pray and journal, and then eventually his word found him, intimacy, going deeper into his relationships. And that's what his year actually became. And he narrowed his focus for greater life change. Now, Dan shared the idea with his family and then with his friend Jimmy Page, and they began doing it together. And this started an ongoing conversation around the dinner table for their family and with their friends. Later on, they shared it with friend and best-selling author, Jon Gordon. The second thing that stood out for me was the need to focus. Why is one word powerful, and why do it? Well, the statistic that they shared was that 87% of people in some way create a New Year's resolution, but that 90% fail after the first month. I have seen so many people that would hear a message or a sermon, make a resolution at the end, something they want to work on, just like I talked about at the beginning, but a week, a month in, it's gone, and that change dies. It just doesn't work. And since people get tired of getting back to something that doesn't work, they needed something that impacted them. One word focus is so powerful and it's easy, and unlike other goals and commitments, people don't tend to forget their word. It's something simple and focused, and then it becomes powerful for life change. And it's all about life change and impact. The third point was the power of identity. In the Positive You podcast, they talked about how our words shape and mold us. When we look at the new year, we often look at what our to-do list is. And one word moves you from a to-do list to a to-be list. It helps you become who you want to be, who you're meant to be, not just what you got to accomplish. Now, this reminded me of the Atomic Habits podcast from episode number 1 and the need to focus on who before we focus on what we need to do. And if you haven't listened to that yet, you might want to check it out. Finally, how to pick a word. It is not random. Although for the guys, it kind of started that way. The ideas and format for the one word really came together when the guys sat down to write the book. And the process in the book is very simple and it works really well. It's what they call their secret sauce. There are 3 phases to finding your one word for the year: look in, look up, and look out. Phase 1, look in, is the idea to unplug from the busyness of life and all the distractions that we all struggle with, and to ask yourself some simple questions. What do I need? What's in my way? What's got to go? So you look at your physical and mental mindset and what patterns in your life you need to change. And you write down a few words, those things that are getting in your way and keeping you from moving forward, becoming your very best. And those are the patterns that you need to change. And then phase 2, you look up. And the guys are people of faith, so they look to God. But they said, even if you're not, they recommend trying to hear from your Creator for direction. This is about changing our world. And it's good to be better people, but we need to turn that outward and impact the people all around us. How can our marriages and relationships be the best? How can you love and serve the people around you? And phase 3 is look out. Keep the word in front of you. Put a picture up on your wall, or maybe make it the background on your phone. Find ways to live out your word and experience the life change that you want over the year. Even without faith, you can still be open to God speaking to you. Now, in my family, we bought a framed chalkboard. And every year we paint our word on the chalkboard, and then we hang it in our kitchen. And then January comes around, we erase all that off, we paint our new word on. And I am so looking forward to discussions this year around my wife and my son's words, finding out what they're learning and how they want to change. So final thoughts from the Positive You podcast. If you want a foolproof way to be better, to become the person you are meant to be, this is for you. Now, sometimes the word wasn't what they thought, and they thought they maybe had failed at what they were doing with one word. But the guys learned that you don't fail your word, you experience your word. You're not meant to conquer or master your word. You're meant to let your word reveal things to you and to learn from it and then keep going. And it is not always easy. Sometimes it's hard and things don't go the way you'd hope they would. This refining process is tough, but you become better even in the hard parts. We need to be stretched. And that's where we learn and we grow on our journey. So let the word stretch you and show you who God made you to be and who you're meant to be for this coming year. Now, does this work? I've been using one word in my life with my family and even with our church for years now. It is incredible how that focus has impacted me and the people around me. One year my word was thrive, another it was the word train, last year it was the word listen. And I ended last year being able to listen to God and hear from Him in a way that I never have before. Every year I've learned and grown and I've been impacted by my one word. So let me encourage you to take the time to get one word for this year. Check out the Positive You podcast or even their YouTube video. The links are going to be in the show notes. And if you want to go deeper, then read the book, One Word. They've got some great stories to inspire you and more content and information. We want to change and get better, to become the people that God created us to be. And with one word, we can get focused and see real change in our lives. You can do it. I believe in you. The next episode, we're going to look at a podcast from Elevation Church, looking at truth and some missing things in our lives, because we need truth if we're going to become who God wants us to be, to reach our full potential. It's going to be good. Until then, make sure to check back at daveslomka.com and share the episode with 3 people that you think would benefit. There are people in your life who struggle just like you struggle, and they want to make a change in their lives, and they want to make a difference. Share the podcast with them. Make sure to leave a comment or a review and share what you thought. It is a big help to me, and I would love to hear from you. And let's share the encouragement around and show others that we believe in them too. Every day is a good day to grow and change. I believe in you. With God in your life, anything is possible. So go out there and make that change.